This is how David Choi is making $5 million per year with info products in the real estate niche. As always, we're going to be looking at the revenue numbers firstly, then we're going to break down the funnel to see how exactly he's converting the people and what's working best for him. And thirdly, we're also going to show what improvements he can make to make much more money. So let's dive straight into it. In terms of the revenue numbers, I pulled some actual data based on his WOP community for which he runs all of the payment side of things, right? And that allows us to know exactly how many members he has for his different products. So in terms of the offers, he's currently running up two big ones, right? He's got his highest ticket product at $15,000, which is done with you mentorship program where he still helps people out with course material and mentorship calls. But he's also got a done for you aspect, and it's the highest priced one. Then he's also got a lower priced one at $2,500, which is essentially his JV, his joint venture partnership program, where he partners with people, and the way it works is people bring the real estate deals, he himself and his team closes on these deals, and then they are essentially able to make business together. Now, based on the WOP statistics, right, we can see here that David joined in the month of August 2024. Right now it's September, so this is a yearly time frame. We can see that based on his mentorship program, he's currently got 328 members enrolled at $15,000. That means he would have made $4.9 million alone from that offer in 12 months. In terms of his partnership lower ticket product at $2,500, he signed up 74 people, allowing him to make $185,000 in total, again allowing him to make $5 million and 100,000 in 12 months, which means he's making an average of $400,000 per month from his info products. Now let's dive into his funnels and see how he's actually converting these people to see the mechanism that is actually working for himself. So in terms of funnel breakdown, he's utilizing a VSL call funnel, which follows the traditional path of getting people onto the landing page, right? Watching the VSL video, getting sold on, filling out the form, booking themselves into a call, and then, right, so the funnel continues. But let's break down all of the single bits. This is, bear in mind, for his $15,000 offer that he sells most people in, and which is also what generates the most amount of money. His landing page itself is very simple, and I love the approach to that, right? He's basically just got the VSL and the qualification form if you're a good fit to apply to work with him. Now, as you can see here, where he's very effective in is essentially the content within the VSL itself to convert people, right? He brings people from his YouTube channel, from his Instagram page onto this VSL landing page, and the first thing he covers, this is a 10-minute long video, right? One of the best things he does is the instant hook. As soon as you click play on that VSL, within the first 15 seconds, he makes a big statement and makes you want to essentially, if you're in the ICP, stay and watch towards the end, because he says, imagine having a team who's done $4 billion in real estate transactions, doing the deals for you, and then handing you a 30K check, right? And the only thing you have to do is connect a homeowner that says, I'm interested in selling. So that alone, for the target audience demographic, if they watch that, they're like, God damn, this is as low friction as possible and with such a high return that you don't hear, right, with other people. So you're instantly hooked. So just within those critical first 15 seconds alone, there's a high chance you're going to be watching the rest. Then, to simplify things in terms of what he does, he then covers all of the different benefits that come with his particular model, which is different to the traditional real estate models, right? And he does a pro and con comparison, and he also speaks about his unique method, every single pillar, what he does, and how people have gotten results with each pillar, right? This is where he puts in the testimonials. And of course, once you're watching the VSL and you are in the target demographic, you're then hit with the testimonials there on onwards. And at the very end, he does a great job with his CDA and results. Again, recapping, like in the screenshot here, what comes with his mentorship program. and all of the results they got, and asking people to apply on the form. Because this is so simple, right? There's no leads getting lost within the funnel and dropping off. So that's a great pointer of what he's been able to do with his landing page. But once you click on essentially filling out the form, what you do is you put your name, phone number, and email so that you're instantly on the database, and then they ask you 9 questions to essentially qualify and see where you're currently at with your real estate business in terms of what experience you got, how many deals are you closing, and then also how much money do you have to invest, and how quickly are you able to get started. All of these questions again are to qualify the lead, and then from there onwards essentially have all of the data for if you are qualified and you get on the call to know, right, how to guide you through it. So once you fill out the qualification form, if you're unqualified, which to become unqualified, right, there's little options that you got to select to become unqualified in terms of just being a pure beginner with not a lot of capital, less than not more than $5,000 to invest in. You're basically hit with this response on the form that says, right, you're not a good fit, you must have at least $5,000. Fill it out again if you think this was a mistake. Then if you are qualified, you get onto the calendar booking page. Now this again is very simple, right? They integrated the Calendly form on here, and they show, which is what's interesting about this one is the details of what you got to fill in to complete the page first. So the name, the phone number, and email, that's integrated first. And then they allow you to choose a timing. The biggest points about this is the way they position it, not as a sales call, but not the fact that you're speaking to sales rep, but the fact that you're speaking to the VP of client success. So this creates more warmth, this creates less friction, and right, just knowing that you're not speaking on a sales call to a sales rep, that you're gonna have a hard sell or a pushy sell, it just makes things more comfortable, right? So this is gonna increase conversions. And then when you also get to book yourself in, again, limited options, and you can only book yourself up to a week in advance, creates urgency, which then causes people to foam in and want to get in on. Once you book yourself in, what happens afterwards is essentially you get onto the confirmation booking page. Now this page here, you essentially see the first video, which is a minute long, I believe, around, and again, congratulations, what are the next steps, what you got to do, perfect. Then he's got a lot of text on the next steps that he covered in the initial video, results and what people have said, testimonials of people in the group. And then he also includes a training video, right, which is essentially what he does a great job in, right? He titles it, when you click on it, the 7-step roadmap to 8 figures. And every single step that you have to have in place, right, makes sense, and to the ICP watching it is like, hey, this is exactly what I need to move forward. But they're also the exact steps that he covers in his mentorship program, right, which he would have covered in the initial VSL, just broken down in more specific bits. And they're also going to be covered down here right after the video. So basically when the person watches this training video, now they see all of the steps, and then directly afterwards, at the end of the video and directly after watching the video at the bottom, they see, hey, this is exactly what I'm going to be helped with, and is exactly what's going to help me to get to the 8-figure level. So another way of essentially keeping people in a psychological buying state for when they hop onto the call. And this is basically the entire call funnel when it gets to that, as simple as it gets, as you can see. Now, in terms of what can he do to improve this, because clearly this has produced numbers, right? He's doing $5 million in a year, but there's steps that he can take, tiny polishings, we may say so, to improve the conversion rates and be able to make more money while help more people. And this is where we get onto the funnel improvement section. So we're just going to stick to the very same funnel because that's what is already working for him, but this is what I would do. Basically, you get onto the landing page. There's certain steps we can take to make the VSL process much more effective in terms of conversions that you get by the end of it, in terms of watch times, and these are some plays. One, right, you want to have some automatic VSL plays so that as soon as people land on, the VSL starts and they're already listening to it. Because since there's only these two things on board, you want to make sure people come to the first thing and the most important thing, which is what's going to convert them. 2, you want to have a recovery thumbnail, right? So when we look at this example right here that I would have covered in Paul's video previously, one of the fantastic things he's done is all of his VSL optimization. So the recovery thumbnail essentially ensures that when a person is watching the video and you pause it at some point because you get distracted, right? Now you're not left with, for example, this image right here, which is where the prospect would have stopped. Instead, you want to have something that instantly grabs their attention again and hooks them and makes them want to click and rewatch where they stopped watching from, so that you don't lose them. For example, in David's case, he speaks about the fact that, right, he does all of the closing of the deals for the prospects, and then they hand them the money after they close the deal. So this is one of the things he could include on, right? He could have a big text saying, don't miss the opportunity for us to hand you a $30,000 check, right? And then, or be able to scale to 8 figures with eye-catching thumbnail image itself, so that, right, this increases conversion rates. The second thing is including a smart progress bar. This is this blue bar that you see right here, right? And what it does is it replaces the fact that you can see how long the video is, and 2, the fact that you can skip across the video, because this essentially allows that the prospect watches the video and this bar starts going off, and essentially it indicates how far into the video you are, and it progresses as you get later into the video. But some people also include a smart feature, they call so, right, in it, where it progresses much faster in the beginning and it slows down later at the end. So what this does is it makes the psychological appearance that, right, the video is much shorter than it is, and it keeps people more hooked to then wanting to finish the video. So this alone would increase, right, watch rate, and also watch rate towards the very end of the video. And again, this automatically leads as a byproduct to higher conversions, higher application rates. So for sure he would want to implement on that. Then the second thing is, right, the form itself. I'm not sure which exact form he used, whether it's the default form of the web hosting platform that they're using, but right, it's not like it comes across as one of those outdated forms with those website builders that included that feature in there, but it's not polished, right? The one you just want to be using is Typeform, right? These guys are specifically focused on providing forms and having the systems, right, for all of the data that they have to allow for lowest friction, highest conversion rates. So you want to go with Typeform. It's also what people are most used to seeing. Next thing is they want to update the funnel theme, because what I came to notice is when you look at all of the other stages of the funnel, right, the landing page of the VSL, the calendar booking page, and then the confirmation booking page, they all follow this thematic, which comes across as an old theme, right, that was used to sell info products or courses back in the days, and it doesn't look polished. So these are the things you don't want to stress too much about when you get started with creating VSLs, but at the stage of David, where he brings so much visibility and traction onto his landing pages, he wants to update this, because this is what's ultimately also going to be leading to just feeling that this is more updated, this is new, this is not the typical info funnel that everyone is using, right? And will allow for more conversions. Good examples of this is, I did an example of Paul's in the previous video, which was very updated and modernized, but it doesn't have to follow, right, that exact theme color scheme, right? They can still stick to the blue one as it matches with all of his other branding, but just have it more updated so it doesn't look that old. And another thing is a recovery pop-up, right? So as soon as the mouse skips to the closing tab, you want to have a pop-up appear which captures the lead's information and makes sure that they don't hop out of the video, so that you can essentially reconvert them and have less people dropping off on the funnel. Now, moving on, qualification form, we said you want to have Typeform in, and then the next thing is if they are unqualified. What we got to see is that they had this old, again, form redirection pop up which says, sorry, you're not qualified. And at this point, they're just losing leads. So what they want to have in place is a downsell, right? This is to make sure they keep people in the ecosystem, and even if they're not financially qualified, you just don't let them off and then, right, they forget about you because they didn't have the finances. You want to have a system that provides value to those people as well so that they can start seeing results. And then when in the future, at some point, they do start, right, having results, having more money, they can apply for your products. So what I would suggest is implementing essentially for the downsell a $500 crash course on one particular segment of what they are already helping people out with in their highest end program, right? You don't want to have people get into this downsell and then not be able to value the higher package, but you still want them to get enough value. So the way this would work perfectly is, for example, making a crash course on how to set appointment deals with real estate. Because what this would work really well with is the secondary offer that they have for $2,500, which is the joint venture partnership. Now, let's say they had the downsell for $500. People then are able to nail down how to set appointments, and they're just being helped on one particular aspect of the whole equation. But now they can start getting some appointments, and as they don't have the skills to do the selling and to do the delivery side of things, right, now they can partner with David on his offer for $2,500 and then close deals together. And as soon as they partner together on this, not only has David made the initial $500 and $2,500 with an average order value of $3,000, but once they start seeing results, right now they've got more money, and after having that good experience, they may even go for the $15,000 offer. So at this point, you're not losing any leads within the funnel, and he definitely wants to have a downsell and keep these people in the ecosystem. In terms of the calendar booking page, everything was looking fine, right? Of course, he wants to have the updated theme for the funnel, which looks modern and simple, right? Being consistent on here as well. And then the booking confirmation page, right? The first thing that we come across is the fact that it's just unstructured, right? He's got so much information on there. It hops from videos to then just a lot of text as well that people nowadays don't read. So you want to keep things more simple. And as I said previous with the theme, it comes across as very outdated and like essentially a course funnel. Like back in the days, you would have these images right here showing what comes with your mentorship program. And typically this was for lower pricing offers that were between the $1,000 range to $2,000. And when you're selling a product for $15,000, you definitely don't want to be mix matching these components right here. So these are the complete makeovers that he would want to implement on. Again, first match the modern, simple prior theme, right, of the funnel. Paul does an amazing example of how sleek and simplified this is, right? When we look at it, you see 2 videos, the next steps to do, and just testimonials, and that's it. That's as simple as get. Almost no to little text. And the first thing he would want to have in his funnel is what he already has, the congratulation and the next steps video, which is very short, right, like Paul did. And then right after, he wants to include the training sales video. So the video that he had down here, this one here, he would want to bring up and have right underneath the congratulations video, because once you congratulate the people on taking the step and making them feel good about having applied and then telling them what to do next, right, the next thing you want to do is for them to consume more information. So like he already has with the fantastic content in the video about, right, the next steps to get to 8 figures, he wants to position it right underneath. And then right after that, right, have a section again on the next step screenshot like Paul did in terms of clicking on the email I know to sender, bookmarking it, highlighting it, whatever. And then that's where you want to hit the testimonials and you want to blast them, because one of the things that he hasn't done, because he kept his funnel, right, so simple in terms of there being no testimonials unless you watch the VSL and he presents some cases, but he doesn't blast them anymore. You want to make sure people get to see them. But you want to also make sure that on the funnel, it is at the very end, because the most important things is for people to watch the first two videos where you build, again, more trust, more rapport with, and you've got more selling points. And then you put all the testimonials, which then you can also blast on the email section to make sure people view them. And these are the improvements I would suggest for him to just fortify his entire funnel. And now he can scale up even more. But this is how David Choi is making $5 million per year with selling info in the real estate space.